Grand Theft Auto is one of the biggest video game franchises in the world. The first game in the series to come out was over 20 years ago, and it's been just under 8 years since the last game, Grand Theft Auto 5, was released. And you would think by now they surely would have released a new Grand Theft Auto game after all this time. But here we are now in 2021, and unfortunately, Grand Theft Auto 6 is yet to be officially announced. This is Eli, and to help ease the pain of waiting for Rockstar's next huge title, I will be talking about what I want to see return in Grand Theft Auto 6. Before I begin, please hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe to see more content from me in the future. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was a game I think most of us can agree was ahead of its time. Not graphically of course, because there was quite a few other games at the time that had better graphics. Also, its predecessor Vice City in my opinion had better graphics and weather effects. But San Andreas was ahead of its time in terms of what you could do in the game. The game added spray painting, recruiting gang members, bikes, and just so much variety in gameplay compared to any other game at the time it was released. The game's map was also very big for its time. It was very impressive how Rockstar managed to chuck 3 cities and a countryside into one map all the way back in 2004. One more thing that was very impressive about the game was the fact that you could gain or lose weight. Whenever you ate or exercised in San Andreas, a bar would appear at the top of the screen telling you CJ has either put weight on or off. If you felt CJ was too skinny, you can make him eat until he puts some weight on. And if you make him eat so much he becomes too fat for your liking, you could make him run around and swim, or go to one of the many gyms around the map and work out on the bike or treadmill to lose that weight. The gyms also had weights and a boxing ring so you could make CJ more muscular. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas has so many features compared to any other Grand Theft Auto game, including Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'd really like to see most of them return in the next Grand Theft Auto game. Cheats have always been a huge part of Grand Theft Auto, and Rockstar are always finding new and creative ways to implement cheats into their games. Like in Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, you had to dial a certain number on the character's phone to activate a cheat. And in the older games, you had to press buttons on your controller in a certain order to activate a cheat if you played on console. Whereas, if you played on PC, you had to type codes. There have been a lot of cheats in Grand Theft Auto games over the years, and man have there been some real good ones. Grand Theft Auto 3 to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas had the best cheats in my opinion. Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 had some good cheats as well, but we're missing a lot compared to their predecessors. For example, the flying car cheat was absent in the last 2 Grand Theft Auto games. The flying car cheat in my opinion is the most iconic cheat in Grand Theft Auto ever, and it was a real shame it wasn't in Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5. When I was a kid, I used to spend hours and hours in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas just flying crowds around the map, doing cool stunts in the air. I would really like to see the flying car cheat return in Grand Theft Auto 6. There was a lot of funny and amazing cheats in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas alone, and I would like to see most of them return in Grand Theft Auto 6. The city Grand Theft Auto is set in is another huge part of this series. As most Grand Theft Auto fans know, the locations in GTA are based on real locations. Liberty City is based on New York, and Los Santos is based on Los Angeles, just to name a few. One city that must be in the next Grand Theft Auto game in my opinion is Vice City. It is the only city to not appear in a HD Grand Theft Auto title. And there's just so many things about the city of Vice City that I love. I love the palm trees, the beaches, the mall, the colourful buildings, and so much more. I know Vice City is pretty small, but I reckon it would be amazing if Rockstar combined it with Liberty City, and they could have highways between the two connecting cities so they aren't just right next to each other. I'm probably asking too much, but I also think it'd be pretty neat if Rockstar combined all 3D GTA maps in one game. But like I said, that's probably asking too much. And it really wouldn't make sense to have a main character travel to all the cities in a single game. But I think having all the cities and countrysides from every 3D GTA game could at least open an opportunity for single player story DLC in Grand Theft Auto 6. Assuming Rockstar does want to do single player story DLC for the next game. But if Grand Theft Auto 5 has taught us anything, it's that it isn't likely to happen. Before I wrap up this video, I thought I'd make some honorable mentions on things I'd like to see return in Grand Theft Auto 6. So without further ado, let the clips roll. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto is a huge franchise, and there is just too much to cover on what I'd like to see return in one video. So I may make a part 2 of this video in the future if it does well enough. But with that said, what would you like to see return in Grand Theft Auto 6? And what game should I do a video on next? Let me know in the comments. Again, please hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and inspires me to keep creating content. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you all in the next one.